Okay, awesome. Glad to have you here. My name is Ifedayo, and I'm delighted to have everyone here present to be part of this meeting. Essentially, the meeting is all about addressing ECFMG accreditation and everything that has to do with ECFMG and all the how to get. I mean, the goal of everybody is to get matched as soon as possible. So, first things first, I would say have no fear. Give no room for fear. Don't panic or anything. I know there's a lot of broadcasts that's gone out to say um, if you don't register before 2023, you will not get into US again. That's really not possible, to be honest, because they need us. They need you to be in the US, so they can't close the door against you like that. And you are not the only country that has not done your ECFMG recognition. So, what's ECFMG recognition? Now, in 2010, but roughly a decade ago, ECFMG thought that the best way to improve medical education standards worldwide is to liaise with WFME, which is a worldwide body that accredits bodies for medical schools and all that, set accreditation standards. So they said, I think it's good for us to have a unified way of verifying your medical standards. And the best way for us to do this is to link it up with ECFMG accreditation of medical schools. You already do your medical school accreditation. The way you know your medical school is accredited to be part of the USMLE pathways that when you go to WDOMS, you can easily you can easily see through the sponsor list that shows, oh, your school is sponsored for ECFMG, and I think you also see some other I think Canada is also there. So they just tell you if your school is most of Nigerian public medical schools, and I think private also. Yeah, private medical schools are accredited, and you can always verify this on WDOMS. I think you're all familiar with this, so let me not bore you with that. So the essential thing now is that they scheduled this to start in 2023, but because of the pandemic, they had to move it to 2024 because they felt like people will not be able to meet up in time. And I looked at the requirement for accreditation. For this accreditation, it's called recognition of accreditation, meaning it's not as if they are coming to accredit the school themselves. They're actually dealing with the accreditation bodies in those countries. So, for example, now francophone countries have a body that accredits them, and that body has registered for this recognition accreditation. So, in fact, a country like Benin Republic, which is just right beside us, as actually is part of the accreditation. But that's just by the way. Now, that just to show it's not about the medical school per se. It's just that the central body that accredits you is recognized by WFME. And how to get recognized that they have to apply for the recognition. Now, the unfortunate thing is that the process of applying can be a bit interesting because it requires money. And the last time I checked was about $60,000. And I don't think MDC is going to do that right now. Now, on the ECFMD website, which I'm going to read up for you, and I think I'm going to also send a screenshot online so you can all see it because I think that's very important. Um, so on the ECFMD website, it says very clearly that the recognition process, I'm just going to read it for you, and it says that this process is going to be implemented in 2024 as planned. Now, the initial implementation will not impede an individual's eligibility for ECFMG certification. So that's clear. So no worries, nothing to worry about. The initial uh, implementation of this will not affect your eligibility for ECFMG certification. Now, if you ask yourself, what are the eligibility for ECFMG certifications? That your medical school is recognized, that you've passed step one, passed step two CK, and passed the OET medicine exam and apply for one of the pathways and then you're ECFMG certified. Now, of course, this means that you should get the process started as soon as possible, but not to be in a rush and write the exams when you're not ready for it. I don't think you should ever do that. I think you should only write the exams when you are very ready for it. Don't rush to take any exam, to be honest. And let me just take a screenshot and share with you now so you can see it. So I'm going to send a screenshot on Telegram. If you're able to see it, you can check. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Let's post this way. It's easier to see this way. Yeah. So that's very clear. So no need to worry, no need to panic. We don't actually have a lot of countries that have really a lot of countries have not completed this process, so they can't just block. India has not completed the process. Pakistan has not completed the process. Who are major contributors to USMLE, US resident applicants every year. So they can't block a major number of people away from getting into US MLE or US residency programs just like that. It's not possible. It's not even reasonable, to be honest, especially since these medical schools are actually accredited. So why are you bringing up this kind of interesting standard? Anyways, so the point is, which you stated clearly, is that there's no worries, nothing to panic about, but it is also important that you kickstart the process. If you have not registered for the ECFMG accreditation at all, it's a very easy process. First, you request for your USMLE ID number or ECFMG ID, and I've sent the link on the group page also. So if you have not done that, you can start that today. It's free. Now, when you get that number, then you go on the IWA website, which is it's called the online services on the SFMG. And that's how you now use your ID to log in. Once you use your ID to log in, you can now kickstart the registration process. Now, registration process is very detailed. They give you a lot of instructions on how to apply, what to do next, when to send your credentials and all these things. So if you get stuck, feel free to ask questions on the group page. Somebody will always be there to answer you. I'm going to post the link also for the hour on the group page so that you can also see that. Now, for those that have completed this process, once you complete all that process, then you cannot be able to apply for the exams. Step one, step two CK, and yeah, that's all the exams you're doing for ECFMG. Yeah, that's it. And then you do the OET medicine, which is something that you can also plan for. I think once you've done the step one, I think the next thing you should aim for is while you're preparing for your step two CK, take the OET medicine so it doesn't delay you. So if you have completed step one this year, congratulations. Now book your OET medicine as soon as possible because the spaces tend to fill up a lot and it's really not so difficult to do. And you can start practicing just like IELTS, but for medical doctors or medical professionals. So you can practice online. There are a lot of YouTube resources, even on the OET medicine website itself. There are a lot of resources online to help you study for it. And you've been through medical school, you've been to USMLE, you've been through all the rigors. OET medicine is not beyond you. You're more than able. You can do this. In fact, by closing half of your eye, just joking. But what I'm just trying to say is that whatever is worth doing quickly. So you can work on the OET medicine as soon as possible and schedule a date because if you wait till when you have done the step 2 CK and wait to get a date, when you're getting towards July, August, it becomes a real rush because everybody's trying to meet up with September application season. As it is, we're already in one application season. People are going to get March by March, and you're already going to have to the application going to open up beginning in September. So there's always that cycle. So if you couldn't meet up with this year's application season, aim to meet up with next year's application season. And all you need to do is what I've said, pass step one, pass the OET medicine, and pass the step two CK. And remember, step one is not pass or fail. So all you need to do is to pass above the minimum required score, which is 194. Now, note of warning. Because step one is pass or fail doesn't mean you should take it unless you're ready for it. And the best way to know you're ready for it is not through UWorld. UWorld is a very good study tool, but it's not the best way to say I'm ready for the exam. The exam has its own mock exam process that gives you an idea of how ready you are for the exam. And you can access that through the MBME mock exam series. There are about maybe 5 forms. I think they're from I know there's from 30, there's from 29, from 28. These are all different versions of the exam. It was changed recently, I think earlier this year to this kind of form. So exam is reflecting the mock exam is reflecting what you see on the exam day. I know a lot of you have offline MBME. That's fine. I mean, I can't I can't say you should not have it because I know these things are costly also. But The final one that you need to take that will before you go for the exam, let it be the online version. It's $60 and you can do it. Just do it. That way it gives you like offline is good because offline you just do it and then you mark it and you see whether you score. But online shows you like the breakdown of how your scores percentages and you can see which area are your weak points, which area, what do you need to work on the final lap of the exam preparation process. So as much as you can, if you can't afford to do two online, at least ensure you do one online and then you can do the rest offline. And the thing I like about the new MBM before, like let's say 2 years ago, the MBMEs were more like I just give you the answers and that's all. But now they give you feedback. It's almost like you're doing your work. So it's like more like a study tool now. So in fact, if you can afford more than two, yeah, go for it. More than two, you can go for it. And then you just know you're saving up for that. Because when you do one block, which is about I think 4 blocks of different questions, it prepares you for what the exam is going to be like. The exam is is not as tough as you would, but of course it's technical, meaning that the questions that appear very simple, but you need to be familiar with how to answer them. And this MBM will give you an idea of okay, what are the ways to answer this question? What's the reasoning behind this thing? One of the things I like doing is that once I do a question and I miss that question, I try to find out okay, why did I miss it? Was it a concept problem? Or was it because I didn't understand the question? Because a lot of times I find out that when I do tutorials with people, when they miss question, not because they don't know the question or they don't know the answer, it's just because they didn't understand the question itself. So I encourage you to find out, take out time, even when you're doing your regular Q bank question banks, you're preparing for the step one or step two CK. Uh, Decide to apportion some time in the day or in the week and you just do tutor based questions. So these are like questions that when you answer them, they give like instant feedback. I think almost every question bank, first aid has that. And I think UWorld also has that. So you can do that for some questions. So that way it gives like an instant feedback. You can like, so it's reinforcing the knowledge because not the way the brain is like, the brain is an amazing organ. It only retains information that you it feels that is valuable to you. That's why you always remember somebody's name sometimes because of the kind of perfume they used. Let's say, for example, the perfume was like Armani or something. Because it struck you so well and the person took their name in that moment, then you don't forget that name because, like, oh, you can remember. Sometimes even like you could just have flashbacks, maybe from smells or something, and then brings back a lot of memories. So the brain is very interesting in that way. So when you are solving a question and you get stuck at that question, then you move on again and you go and do several questions. So your brain does say it's not important. Let's file it away. But imagine if you are instantly engaging with yourself and you're like, oh, why did I miss this question? What and you link it up to something really that happened in real time, that helps you to like integrate that information in that moment and then you're able to retain it longer. And one thing I also encourage people to do is that once you do your UWorld or once you're practicing and preparing for exams, find somebody to talk to about what you're studying. It could be a colleague that's also doing the exams, it could be a friend, and you explain the concept because these concepts are the same everywhere. There's no it's the same biochemistry they're going to ask you. They're not asking you out of syllabus. Everything is there. You understand? I know a lot of us have first aid and we like first aid, but first aid is good when you have a very solid knowledge of the subject already. So it's like a revision material for you. But you can't use only first aid for your main study material, especially if it's an area where you're not very strong in. I know, like, maybe I'm guessing anyway, I'll say 70% of people are not so strong in biochemistry. So it'd be good to get like Kaplan. Yes, Kaplan has a very good review on biochemistry. BRS has a very good review on biochemistry and genetics. Don't underestimate biochemistry. It comes out every single time. So don't underestimate it. And it's not as difficult as it looks. The more you practice, the more you study, the more you discuss with people, the more you get better at it. And as I said, step one is pass or fail. All you need to do to succeed in step one is essentially get above the pass mark. Yeah, that's it. And that's it. They're not sending your scores to programs. They're not so your scores are not being used to judge how good you are as a candidate for the program, which is a good thing, which puts extra pressure on step two CK. So I'm going on to step 2 CK now. Now, if you've not started working on step 2 CK application, preparation and all that, step one will take you a bit of time to prepare for because it's intensive, it's basic science, is what you've done in the past. So step one will take a lot from you, and it might take you up to like 5 to 6 months to really, really prepare for it. Some people might be less if they had a very good basic science background. Some people can even be longer than 6 months, can even be up to 9 months. Most important thing is put your eyes on the goal, study every day. Consistency. Consistency trumps sudden preparation. You know what we do sometimes? We do like 8 hours today, then do 0 hours tomorrow, then do 1 hour tomorrow, then do 9 hours again. No, just make it consistent. If you can tell yourself, okay, I can give 4 hours to step one study every day, then keep it like that, keep it consistent. And you don't just study like on a stretch. Don't do 4 hours sitting down. No, don't do that. Do 45 minutes studying. Take a break. Maybe watch a short clip, watch a short video, do something exciting, play around. In 15 minutes, come back again. Do another 45 minutes. Play around again for 5 minutes, come back again. Do 45 minutes. Play, come back again. That way you don't get fatigue and you can study for longer and you can retain more information. And I also encourage you to do this, as I said earlier. You can even record yourself explaining the concept to somebody or to you. Just explain the concept, even if it's a teddy bear you put and you just explain the concept to. Just ensure, because when you read something, you're talking through it, you're trying to explain it to people. It's like it's correcting some of the gaps you have in your knowledge. So as you're trying to explain it, you're like, oh, I didn't really master that. So you go back again. You understand? So that's where you get better and get better at it. And then you now after you're done with that, then you solve questions. Now, you see, I've taken you through how to effectively study for step one. It's not difficult, to be honest. It's demanding, but it's not impossible. Because what I'm saying is because a lot of times people feel like, oh, I'm not brilliant. I don't know so much about this. Some people I meet them, they do pre-tests when they are doing like tutorials, and they do pre-tests and they have like 45%, some 30%, some 20%. I tell them, it's not that you're not brilliant. It's just that your mode of study and exams has to change because USMLE tests something different. And in a few months, and they got used to the system, they got used to how to study, they are scoring 80%, 90%. So that's it. That's how it is. You keep getting better at it. So this exam, this USMLE is a leveler. It's a leveler. This is the time, if you had, forget about what happened in medical school, forget about how medical school was. This is the time for you to like put your best at it and you excel. I can guarantee you that I've been doing this for more than 5 years. So I've seen a lot of people that have come in and feel like I can't do this, and they've got matched into a very good residency program, several residency programs. So you can do this. It's not impossible. You can, and you can be the best at it. And what I tell people is that see this exam as making you a better doctor, and that's what it is. When you study for USML, you become actually better as a physician, as a clinician, because you now know the concept behind everything you are doing. You know why you give like particular drug for particular thing. Why do you treat gout with this and all that and all that? So that's how you engage with what you're doing. So make it exciting, make it engaging. And remember, there are a lot of resources online. So it's not all books. There are videos. I know a lot of videos that is popular now is Birds and Beyond. People love Birds and Beyond, which is good. I like Picmonix because I like graphics. Picmonix, Pixelrise, I just like graphics, things that been color, so it reminds me of the concept. So there are different resources online, and not all of them are costly. Some of them are actually free for some, maybe like with adverts or something like that. So I once I find out anything, I send it on the group page, and if you need anything else, you can also ask me. So use anything that works best for you. What works for A might not work for B. Somebody could put up, I had 271 when they used to talk about scores, right? Some people say, I had 271 in my step one. I use only first stage for 6 months. No. Find out what works for you. And the way to find out what works for you is when you study and you solve questions and you say, okay, in the past 45 minutes, I've studied for this concept. I'm trying to test now with question bank. How did I retain the information? And was I able to answer the question? So when you're able to notice that, okay, this is what works best for me, then go for that. There's no point using 10 materials to study for step one. Just stick to what works best for you and go for it. The same thing with step two CK. So now we'll go on to step two CK now. As I said, step one takes a bit of time to prepare for, but now that it's pass or fail, I mean, once you do your MBME and you have passed, just go for the exam. And you know you have passed well, just go for the exam. No need wasting time. Keep preparing, keep preparing, keep preparing. Just go for it. Once you know you have done well on the mock exam. Now, step two CK could take about 3 months to prepare for, or 4 months or less. Some people even do it in 1 month. Hmm. At the efficos. But really, just because sometimes people are more lovely in terms of excited about step two CK because it's more about concept you've mastered of recent and maybe in your final year medical school, house job, clinical practice. So it's more like new to you. So the concept are like internal medicine. So if internal medicine is your favorite, step two CK is like a walk in the park. You have internal medicine, you have obstetrics and gynecology, you have pediatrics, you have different clinical areas that are being tested. Emergency medicine. I love step two CK to be honest, because I love the fact that this is what you'll be seeing real time. And the reason why I also like step two CK because it will help you for step three. So if you do very well in your step two CK, step three will be working it because most of what will be tested in your step three will be from your step two CK. Now, we're already going to step three. Okay. Let's do step three for now. Let's focus on step two CK. So preparing for step two CK, I told a colleague of mine that was preparing for step two CK, and I said, all you need for step two CK, to be honest with you, you need your master day boards by Conrad Fisher, and you need your U World. That's it. That's it. If you find any other resources that helps you better, then go for it. And first aid for step two CK, which historically it's not been very good. It's not been very great historically. It's not been the best. So a lot of people don't have good experiences with it. But you can try it. If it works for you, then go for it. So first aid, but I don't know if there's any post on beyond for statistics. I'm not sure. There might be. But what works for you, just go for it. If it's videos that work for you, Kaplan videos, Kaplan books on step 2CK, then go for it. There are a lot of Kaplan resources. I know for surgery, Pestana notes in surgery is very good for step 2CK. Very, very good. There are a lot of Kaplan books that are very good in surgery anyway for step 2CK. So just ensure you do the reviews and solve questions. Don't just read without solving questions. So questions is the key. Once you do all this study, maybe you're studying pediatrics today, ensure you study it, you look at the emergency aspect, look at the surgery aspect, look at all the other aspects, just integrate the information together. How do you assess somebody that's coming? How do you know this child's fracture is from brittle bone disease or it's from trauma or it's from child abuse or it's from a fall? How do you know if this child's scalded bottom is because the mother dipped the child inside the hot water intentionally? No, there are different concepts, so it's very specific. Is way exciting. Now, remember the goalpost has moved to step 2CK now. So if you are going for competitive programs, any program as a international medical graduate that you are, because once you're medical school, no matter your level of citizenship, even if you're a US citizen, as long as your medical school is outside the US, you're considered an international medical graduate. Sorry, it's not racism. It's just the way it is. They don't trust your medical school yet until you pass your step 2CK. So that's it. But to be honest, you do very well. But I want to set a goal for you. Aim to at least have a minimum score of 50 on your step 2CK. Please. Should I nail down for you? Please. If you have done your step 2CK and you didn't have a minimum of 250, it's not a problem. It's not the end of the world. You can improve other parts of your application profile to meet up with those programs and also apply a bit broadly. But if you need any particular question, feel free to ask me either on WhatsApp or Telegram or even on the group page. I will do my best to answer. But step 2CK is the way forward, is the next frontier, is where the battle is now. So ensure you do very well. So the MBME for step 2CK is also very important to assess and verify how ready you are and if you are scoring very high. So as I said, don't take it lightly. Don't say, oh, step 2CK now, just do it. No. Ensure you score very well on it. If you have 240, because the pass mark for step 2 CK. Hey, it is well. Pass mark for step 2 CK is now, I think it's about, I think they increased it. Let me just verify. So I don't say what I'm not sure about. Yeah. But they're changing the minimum score from July 1. July 1. Yeah, which makes sense. So before, the pass mark for step 2 CK was 209. Now the pass mark is 214. So if the pass mark is 214, ask yourself, 220 will not cut it. You need to have at least 240. Yeah, 240, 250. Yeah, some people are having 270. Yeah, it's possible. It is possible. So practice makes perfect. What are things that make you get better? Participate in group discussions. I asked a question on the group page, and people said they prefer us to do step 1, step 2 CK, and some people say all of the above. Buffet kind of people, which is fine. But we'll try and see what we can do to maybe in a day in the week we could just discuss a question in step 1. Maybe on that day we choose a question in step 2 CK, and then we'll try not to spam the group too much. So people don't get tired of a lot of questions. But just if you find those questions, feel free to engage, feel free to ask questions, feel free to discuss it, feel free to, that's what makes us all better. And that's it on step 2 CK. So I've, I hope I've been able to answer most of your questions and also make it clear to you. Now, for the OET medicine, there's a minimum pass mark. I think it's pass mark. The minimum pass mark on OET medicine for ECFMG is, I think is if I remember, is B. Yeah, I think minimum requirement is B. Yeah, minimum requirement is B. So applicants to take you must attain. I'm using BAB. Let me use a number. I can see a figure on their website. Say if you are taking the OET medicine after April 2022, you must attain a minimum score of 350 on listening, reading, and speaking subtest, and a minimum of 300 on writing subtest. Thank you in one test administration. So if you do not attain the minimum score on one or more, there's no limit on the number of times you can take OET medicine. You see, that's excellent, guys. So meaning that not like step 1 where you cannot take it more than once, or step 2 you can take it more than once if you've passed already. So even if you pass your ET medicine and you feel like your score is not good, then just go for it. Sorry, money is going. So to be eligible for the 2023 pathways, you must attain a satisfactory score on or before as stated below. And no. Okay, good, excellent. Excellent. I think we've clarified all the things that you need for the ECFMG certification, 2023 pathways and all that. Now, pathways themselves. Let's talk about the pathways. Since we've talked about the exams, let's talk about the pathways to get ECFMG certified. You have pathway 1. You're already licensed to practice medicine in another country. That's after hours job now. So this is for, I think most people qualify on that is. So if you have finished medical school and you have done your house job, I think you qualify for this already. All you need to do is I think you have to show them your certificate of good standing. I think, yeah, that's part of the requirement for it. Pathway 2, already passed an OSCE exam for medical licensing at an acceptable medical school. These are only for people who do not meet the requirement for pathway 1, but attend or graduated from a school that administer an OSCE. So maybe your school can qualify for this. Let's say, for example, you have just finished medical school and you're not done house job yet. So this might work for you. And let's see what other things they want. So this school must be located in a country that is not served by an accreditation condition recognized by the So I think that Nigeria should be able to qualify under this. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, yeah, that's good. So pathway 3, we've done pathway 1, 2. Pathway 3 is the medical school accredited by an agency recognized by WFME. In pathway 4, medical school accredited by an agency that has pathway 5. So basically, pathway 1, pathway 6, evaluation of clinical patient encounter by licensed physicians. This is for people that do not meet all the eligibility requirements for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can meet a physician that's licensed to do like a clinical evaluation exercise for you. You can always check the pathways to see more details about each of these pathways. It's just like an overview I've just given. Now, if you have any question, feel free to ask, and I'm just going to take a break here and ask for questions. Then I would you could unmute yourself if you have a question, and I'm hoping we can do this in a way that we won't disturb each other too much. So let's see. Yeah, let's see. Okay, good. That's fine. So if you have a question, please can you unmute yourself? Hope you can all hear me. I've been talking for 35 minutes. So can you all hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Good morning.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Finally, I thought I was speaking in an echo chamber. It's good to
Thank
hear
you
that.
so
Do you have any
thank you so
question?
much. Yes, I have a question. There's something I've been reading online concerning I'm not quite clear about. It's called MSPE or something. I really don't know what it is.
Ah,
I think
you must know what
MSPE
the,
also.
you must know what MSP is, so that's compulsory.
So
That means I've
this
not
was
been
just
coming to I've not been coming to school. Just
uh,
joking. Just joking. So MSP is called Medical Student Performance Evaluation. Now, this is a very important document. So when you're applying for residency, there are some documents they require from you. One of those documents is the MSP. Now, the MSP is what your school sends to ECFMG to say these are you performed while you're in medical school. So these are things that I talk about. For example, if you're in the top 10% of your class, this should be in your MSPE. And I think I sent a sample MSP sometime. I will look for it. If I find a sample MSP, I can put on the group. So you see how a good MSP looks like. Now, MSP talks about essentially just about the school saying how excellent of a student you were when you're in medical school. So things like your performance in maybe if you want a prize, if you want like a distinction, that should be in your MSP definitely because medical school programs, residency programs look out for that. So let's say for example you had a distinction in internal medicine and you're applying for internal medicine, so to get for now. So you have entered already in here. So essentially your MSP must really highlight the best of you. Some I've seen some MSP that are very, very ridiculous, very, very abstract. It's like, oh, she entered in September 2005 and graduated in September 2014, and therefore she's joining you for residency. Like, what's that? So, remember your MSP, you send your request to your provost or provost office. So, ensure that you sit with them. If you can, send your CV of what you did in medical school. Like, you're part of extracurricular clubs. Maybe you're part of which other clubs are there now? My medical staff doctor. You have FAMSA. FAMSA is also a good one to put on your CV. We have a lot of organizations. So anything that you think was very noteworthy that you did in your medical school, ensure you put on your CV and send it to your provost. And ensure you talk to the person that is writing to write a detailed MSP. Don't let them write a generic MSP because if you write a generic MSP, your residency program will not really. It's just like this guy is just. It's not. No, they have like you're having 5,000 candidates applying for 10 slots. They are looking for who is going to stand out. So MSP, ensure you put due diligence on it, and let it be a very good one. I think. Let me see if I can find a sample one for IMGs. Yeah, yeah. So ensure you have a very good MSP. Very, very important. The MSP is very, very vital. Okay. I hope I've answered your question.
so much.
Anybody else?
And when can we do it? Like, can we do it anytime, or it
I
always
think
have
it's
to be?
I mean you can initiate it now ahead of time. And when is that time, they will just send it. The school will just send it. So either I think it's either you upload it or the school uploads it. It's usually on the ERA platform that you send the documents. So but it's good to like if you are applying next year September, it's good to kickstart the process now. You can start at least telling your school, hinting them. Don't wait until when it becomes like a rush. So you can start talking to them about it and say, so I'm applying for this, I'm applying for this. So let me see. You see this? let me read a very very annoying sample one for you. This is to certify that doctor was a student of this college from and while pursuing MBBS, he or she passed the final exam and and satisfactorily completed the compulsory rotating internship as a recent intern from dash, and he or she is eligible and has received the award of MBBS degree. Work and character conduct during the stay was found to be satisfactory. So this is like a testimonial. That's what it is. So this is very basic. Please don't send this kind of MSP to your residency programs. It has to be something very, very detailed and something that is very unique. Let me see. I have a template. I think I have a good template. Let me see. I can send that to you. Mm, 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 mm. I'll post the template on the group page so you can all check it out.
Telegram
Oh,
or
it's going to be on Telegram. It's going to be on Telegram. So it just shows like the way it should be. So ensure that your school follows this kind of template. It's very detailed. It's like very, very detailed. I really hope your school can do this. That'll be awesome. And you can start getting encouraging your school to do things like this so that even for other people coming after you to be easier. So this is a very detailed template to use to make a lot more sense. Okay.
Very much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So do you have any other question? Okay. Now everybody must talk. Everybody must say something. So I'll pick on you and you say something. Either you say thank you or you ask a question. You have to say something. Because that way I know I've covered everybody and everybody has talked. So I will go. I think Jesse just spoke now. So Dr. Olua Pelumi, I think that's the person I see next. So do you mind saying something?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon.
Good morning.
Yeah,
I'll
I
join.
actually have I actually have a question. Like
You see now?
while register I was still going to ask my question. Is there anything we would need to get from the school while trying to register for step one? Is there any is there any form
Have
where
you gotten your ECFMG number?
no, I just want to start the registration.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, that's fine. So once
Yeah.
you start the registration, there's some things that your school will need to send to ECFMG, which is your transcript and your diploma. But they've made it a bit easier now, I think because of the COVID, in which you can send it on their behalf. Before we used to send it by post to Philadelphia, which is a lot of money. And your school loves to collect money, which consider it as the alumni contribution to the school. So don't take it as they're taking money from you. Just say it's alumni. Yeah, invest in your school. But they'll collect a lot of money from you. Even sometimes some money I don't expect at the last stage of getting everything done, some amount of money came out of nowhere. Oh, you owe your school, is it $50 or $150? I'm like, where did this one come from? So I had to call the school and they had to explain. So it's good to find out from the school, kickstart the process on ECFMG itself. Start all that. I don't think you need more than $150 to kickstart the process on ECFMG. I think it shouldn't be more than that. It might be, but I don't think it should be up to $200. So kickstart the process with your school, find out what they require. And when it gets to state for you to send your diploma, you could easily upload it on the ECFMG. They have a separate link for that, or your school can send it to them electronically. It depends on what happens, but your school is used to that already because there are several graduates that have finished from your school and they have also applied for US residency. So it's good to also find out who handles it in your school and what are the requirements. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Is somebody else that going before I call somebody's name? I'm trying not to call too many people's names. So if you have
sorry.
a question,
Good
space time
evening.
to
Yes.
ask. Good evening.
Um, I got confused while you were explaining this submission thing because I already have um my exam number and I've paid for those from 180 or so. So I don't know, is there something different to do again apart from all that? Because I'm confused right now. I don't know.
Okay, you've applied already? You've gotten your Form 186 already or 180?
Yes, I have.
Excellent. So what's the next step? Have you done your notary? Have you notarized it already?
Yes, I have already.
Okay. Have you sent your diploma and transcript?
No, I don't
Okay.
know.
Have you gotten any email
Was
after
that one during
doing?
the process?
Did you send your
Yes, I
diploma
got
and
an
transcript already?
email that from, I don't know. I think I did that during the process. But I know I got a message, an email later on after like 3 weeks, confirming that I can go ahead with the exam and all that.
Okay. Okay. But you've sent your transcript and diploma at some point.
Yes, I think I did that.
Okay. Okay. Then that's
Or have
fine.
you?
That means they've contacted your school to verify if what you sent to them is genuine.
Okay, thank
You
you.
most likely sent it online. That what I was on. I think you must have sent it
Thank you.
online. So that's why you're. If you sent it by post, I'm sure you remember, because that one usually expensive. Okay, that's good. So you're on the right track. So that means have they issued you time? Have they told you to choose an LGBT period already?
Yeah, they told me to, but I'm yet to. I'm going to do that next year.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
That's
fine. So that means
2026.
you're in the right place. You have you should even be teaching us how to go about this. So that's good. Well done.
Ah,
That's good. Okay. So who else again? Who has a question? I think some schools make it easier than some other schools. I feel like some schools are ensure they collect plenty money from you. But anyway, once you get in and start earning your dollars, you'll not even remember all this money again. Like some people that have started now, they don't even remember anything again now. They just think about how much they will be sending home very soon. So think about that. Don't worry about the. This is just an investment. The for this process, the things that you can really control are your performance in step one and your performance in step two CK. Your MSP, if you are not in medical school, you can't really control it. But if you are in medical school, this is the time to get. Don't just say I'm going to read the room. I'm going to the library, and you do that and go to class. No, engage in activities. Join Red Cross. Join something. Participate in class. At least aim to score a distinction in one of your. It could be or win a prize. And in my school, we used to have like prizes for different things. So we had anesthesia prize. We had what other prize again? Different prize. So you can aim for something like that, or ophthalmology prize if that's your interest anyway, and all that. So those aim to do very well in one area. But if you have not done excellently well so far and you already graduated, there's nothing you can do about that. It's done. What under the bridge. But what you can do well in your step one, do on your step two CK. And let me just encourage us again. Any residency is possible. We're going to have a interactive session in January. One of our colleagues that started this group were like together for like 2 years. I think he joined 3 years. He got into orthopedic program. That's like very competitive, and he got into it, and that's just like never giving up. So he will tell you about the story when we meet next year, which is just tomorrow. So we'll talk to you about how he got into the program and all that. So I'm just saying, if you have a dream to go for something, it's not impossible. You just need to know what you need to get there. Find out, okay, what are the current resident doctors in that specialty? What are they? For example, somebody says, I want to do neurosurgery, I want to do neurosurgery. I say, what Ben Carson has done in our life. So anyway, you want to do neurosurgery, that's excellent, good. Find out what neurosurgery programs are in the US. Which one are you interested in? Or just find out what are their basic requirements. Like one of the neurosurgery programs we're checking, we were discussing with this person, said all these candidates, all of them had MD, PhD, MD, PhD, MD, PhD. Now ask me, why you want to go to such a program without having your own PhD? So maybe the first thing for you will be to just do a PhD in neuroscience in the US, of course, and use that to get more experience and use that to also familiarize yourself with the environment, get used to the system, networking. You know, we call networking in Nigeria, we call it leg. There's leg everywhere. So in the abroad too, you have to network. And this is how you do it. There's a very nice group I see online, emergency medicine interest group. I also see oncology interest group. I also see, which one do I see again? I see several interest groups. So if you can start one, or you're interested in those things, join it. Like one program director on Twitter was lamenting that they didn't have a lot of applicants in emergency medicine. I say, yeah, why? Because everybody's applying to internal medicine. Internal medicine. Emergency medicine is a cool specialty also. So think of it if you're interested in emergency medicine, and you don't just think of it, you start from where you are. Some people say, how do I gain the experience? How do I gain this experience? You don't need to travel to the US to gain the experience. Start from where you are. For example, now, I think the only hospital system that has an emergency residency program in Nigeria might be University of Ibadan, if I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm right. But I think it's one of the few. We don't have a lot of emergency residency program in Nigeria. Maybe Benin, I'm not sure. But I know Benin has a paramedic program, which is impressive. But University of Ibadan has an emergency residency program. So if you're interested in emergency medicine, to be wise, to do like an observership, or to even work there as a medical officer, and maybe even get into residency. Yeah. And I was talking to someone yesterday. I said, you're interested in so specialty. Do you know that if you're currently in residency in Nigeria, you can actually finish your residency in Nigeria calmly and apply for fellowship. Fellowship is like an added plus, like super specialization in that field of interest. You can, especially if you have passed your USMLE exams, you can actually apply for a fellowship in the US as long as you have done with your USMLE exams. So there's not one way that enters the market. The most important thing is that you get what you want. What do you really want? You want to be the best in your field. You want to have expertise. You want to get trained. You want to, whatever you want, even if it's money, just know what you want and go for it. And a lot of people are also going to the UK because it's a bit straightforward. I mean, maybe a bit easier. And also, like, you can get jobs immediately and all that. So if that's what you want to do, you can also do that. But set your eye on the goal. You're going to the UK and you're thinking of going to a particular specialty. So every job you're applying for, maybe in the NHS, should be related to the residency they're interested in, eventually in the US. And I've seen people that have done this. People have gone to UK, gain experience, and of course, gain some more pounds, and then use that experience and money to apply for USMLE. So the most important thing is that don't lose sight of your goal. Ensure that everything you're doing is towards you gaining experience. There's no point. I'm interested in family medicine now, and and all I'm doing so far is maybe think of what family medicine is super specific. Then I'm interested in pathology. That's true. I don't see a lot of people interested in pathology. And pathology is not a difficult thing to get into. Anyway, and pathology is not all about looking at dead bodies. There are lots different parts of pathology. There's diagnostic pathology. And if you go on the YouTube page, you see we interviewed a US resident. She's now a consultant now in pathology, and she did a very fantastic talk about getting to residency, and very interesting. You can listen to it again. So what I'm just trying to say is that everything you do has to be linked. So if you're going to pathology in the US, that means if you're going to the UK, you look for experiences in that area. And I see a lot of people say, I want to do a master's in US and I'm interested in surgery. And then you do a master's in public health, which is fine. But remember, if you can get a master's close to your specialty, then go for it. If you can't, that's fine. But if you can get your foot in the door, why not? Just go in. But ensure that even if you're doing a master's in public health, at least do something related to maybe your intended specialty. So you could do, like, for example, I'm interested in endocrinology, then my own research focus can be on how to improve medication compliance amongst type 2 diabetics, to improve the HbA1c um, values, reduce it over a 3 month period by encouraging that's a public health initiative. Now, you have gone for public health, but you have also showed that you're still interested in endocrinology. So when you're applying for residency, that research is on ERAS profile. And when you're applying, oh, wow, can you talk to me more about the research? And that can be like one of that can be like a fine point for you to discuss with the consultant to say, oh, this is what I'm interested in and all that. So see, we have been in Nigeria, we have been in different countries. I don't know, some people might be in other countries, but our medical school has not been fashioned to fit into the US system exactly. So now the onus is on you to improve yourself and to fit. Because you see, most of the candidates that are finishing from the US schools are already they're already writing papers as they're finishing from school. Some of them already have 4 papers, 5 papers. So I see a lot of people actually have um now of recent I've been seeing a lot of research study groups online. You can join a research group. Yeah, you can. Even if you're working like in medical practice, let's say you're working in general practice, I've said this several times. You can actually start a small project. Now I'm always like advocating for you all to join. I'm always advocating for you all to join quality improvement. So you can do a quality improvement project, for instance. Somebody's mic is muted. Okay, you can do a quality improvement project, for instance, and you focus on maybe preventing diagnostic error by writing legibly or implementing EMRs and using that, investigating how that has improved medication errors and mistakes and all that. You can even do something like that and look alike, sound alike medications. So medications that look alike and sound alike. How has that caused medication? How has that caused problems in the maybe causing patient safety problems and all that? So quality improvement, I always encourage everybody, quality improvement is something that cuts across every specialty. So if it's something you want to go into, you can do a lot of quality improvement courses online, on Coursera, on Allison, on different places. You can even do a quality improvement project. I encourage you. If you're in the UK, you're already used to quality improvement project because they do clinical audits and all that. So whatever you do, document it. Ensure you document it. If you can publish it, publish it. And that's the way it is. That's how you build up a profile. So it's very important that you keep building up your profile. Remember, in school we're just like, let me just pass, let me just pass. No, medical schools have what we call Duncan line. I pass, I beat the Duncan line as long as I can beat 50. But in the US it's different. They are talking about they don't want you to have just 50. I was telling myself to pass the USMLE, you need to have at least 70% passed in every block. So you have 8 blocks, you have to have 70% at least. If you want to be competitive, you're aiming for 90%, 95% pass in every block. So the standard is higher. There's no area of concentration. Everything is fair game. Anything can come out in your ESML. So anything you're struggling with, take out time to study it more. There are a lot of YouTube resources. There are a lot of resources online. So you're not in lack of resources. So, and if you need help, if you are struggling, please ask for help. That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm passionate about. If you need extra help, just text me or ask on the group page anytime. If I don't get you on time, I will eventually get to you. But remember, you're not alone, and the goal is for you to get into the best program. So I'm looking forward to awesome good news from everybody. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to people getting matched. I'm looking forward to 2024. Some people saying, I got matched. So, and that will be you. So, is that you? Yes, it is. So, do you have any questions before we round up? I think we've covered most of everything. So, if you have any question, please feel free. I'm going to stop
Like,
recording now.